Good afternoon. Welcome to the 4:30 workshop. I'm Ben Jordan from Centrus Energy.
And I'm Jessica Lee from Centrus Energy.
I've been with Centrus for 22 years and spent my whole career there trying to come up with and produce a U.S. enrichment technology to diversify the enriched uranium supply that the world has got at its disposal to use. And Jess, would you care to tell us?
Sure. And I'm Jess. I joined Centrus about 5 months ago, so fairly recently. But I've been working in Washington, D.C. for about 16 years in various capacities, including on the Hill and most recently at Department of Energy. First heard about Centrus when its predecessor, USEC, U.S. Enrichment Corporation, led a major non-proliferation effort with Russia to convert 500 metric tons of highly enriched uranium into low-enriched uranium. So reading that history as a non-proliferation student, I was really intrigued about this company and the work that its predecessor had done. And so excited to be here to talk a little bit with you about Centrus and where we're headed next.
Thank you. So we're going to talk to you a little bit about where we are with our program and project to try and enhance the U.S. enrichment. I think they're probably going to put it on the screen where you all can see it here in just a second. We can see it just fine. If you want to come up and join us, we'll look down. But so what we're doing is, well, we've first got to do our legal requirements of reminding you not to make any investing decisions based on the presentation we're about to give. And if you've seen our stock price, then you really should have bought a while ago, but things are going well for us now. So who are we? Well, we are the U.S. Enrichment Company. We're the only domestic uranium enricher currently operating. We have been a trusted supplier of nuclear fuel even since we've been out of the enrichment business, which we were out of the business from around 2013 when we closed our last gaseous diffusion plant until 2023. We'll talk more about that in this presentation. But we are enriching high-assay low-enriched uranium. That's going to be a large portion of the topics today. And we are just embarking on a pretty historic expansion of our enrichment capacity. Anything you'd want to add? Okay. So how did we get to where we are? If you took a look back at 1985, you'd see that the U.S. low-enriched uranium market was about 7.5 million SWU, the separative work units used to measure enrichment. And the U.S. Was enriching far more than its reactors required. And at that point, there were no foreign-owned enrichment companies operating inside the U.S., and France was obviously a big contributor with 10.8 million SWU. China had not yet entered the market. Urenco was out of the starting gates, was obviously producing some, and Russia was a contributor as well. And then if you fast forward to 2022, which is where we've got some data, and this is a slide that in the States usually produces some gasps and some oohs and ahs. You see that the U.S. really backed away from uranium enrichment, and Russia was able to jump forward. They were taking the opportunity to fill the void, and there was a lot of downblending of their megatons to megawatts project, some of their old HEU that they had associated with their nuclear arsenal. The UK, Urenco, and China had all amped up their production, and the first foreign enricher inside the U.S. had begun enriching. So that was a pretty fascinating change of events, and the market had almost doubled. And you may question the dates there. I have checked it. There were a lot of reactors in the U.S. that did start after 1985, and are still, many of which are still operating today. So, world events caused the U.S. government to implement the Prohibiting Russian Uranium Act, and that is going to curtail Russian imports into the U.S. The last waivers that are available are set to expire in 2028, the very beginning of 2028. And so if you think about what Russia offered, they were the only HALEU enricher. That was the only place that these advanced reactors could get HALEU. And some of them were actually planning to get their HALEU from Russia before this ban took place. And luckily, the White House had been, under the first Trump administration, had set the wheels in motion to have a U.S. HALEU enrichment capacity. And so we set about delivering the very first of that capacity.
Yeah, and I just want to underscore, having been in the executive branch from 2022 till very recently, I mean, the support for this measure to ban imported Russian nuclear fuel was very bipartisan, bicameral, and is sustaining. And so, you know, we anticipate, given the current situation, for these types of policies to stick, regardless of which administration is in power.
Absolutely. So, the European Union has done something similar, or is in the process of doing something similar. And the one thing that I draw your attention to is right now the process that's outlined intends to limit the European Union to European enrichment sources. And if I could leave you with one message today, it would be that, you know, Centrus and U.S. enrichers, once there are more of them, would welcome the opportunity to be able to sell into this market as well. We think it would help diversify the market, keep price competitive alive, and hopefully at least offer some level of competition that would help the marketplace. Apparently we're going to hold on this to let this sink in. There we go. So part of why there is some need for this enrichment capacity, and everyone's adding enrichment capacity as fast as they can. I think hopefully some of you saw the presentation on George Best earlier today, because there is not enough non-Russian enrichment to feed the Western reactors. So that is the problem, and it is a gap that right now is anticipated to grow, as we'll see on the next slide. Oop. There we go. So if you subscribe to the World Nuclear Association, you'll see that they are anticipating that the gap, despite all of the construction, is going to swell to 14 million SWU by 2030. So again, the other enrichers all are building as well, and eventually you would assume that that gap is going to get closed, perhaps by the late 2030s. But again, we think that we can be a potential contributor to that solution. And so there you see the facility that we have access to. We own in Southeast Ohio. We call it the American Centrifuge Plant. It still stands from when it was originally built by the Department of Energy. We lease that facility. It has room for 11,500 plus centrifuges of our design, which is a ability to build about 3.8 million SWU. There is room on the ground for 6 additional process buildings. It's 2 process buildings that you see there behind the building that we assemble the centrifuges in. And so there's plenty of expansion capacity available.
Yeah, and it's hard to grasp the size of this Pentagon-sized building and the vast emptiness as you walk through or bicycle through. I mean, it's just, there is literally capacity that is not being used that we think has the potential to be utilized in quick order.
Yep. Thank you. So we began enriching in late 2023. That was historic. It was the first new enrichment plant of U.S.-owned technology in 70 years. We have met all of our milestones, delivered 900 kilograms of UF6 to the Department of Energy, and are on track to continuing delivering 900 kilograms per year. And our intention is to expand. And so that's what we are setting out to do. So our plan is, as was announced September 25th, is that we're going to build a large-scale HALEU and LEU production facility. And the size and scope of that facility, as our CEO said at the announcement in September, is going to be largely guided by the DOE awards. But for the first time in my career, It was a pretty significant announcement because the announcement is we are going to build a centrifuge plant, and it did not wait on any sort of U.S. government award. And I think that's just indicative of the sort of excitement that has built in this industry. We were able to obtain $2 billion worth of contingent offtake agreements for this plant, and we also were able to sell $1.2 billion of convertible notes. And so you can see that essentially that allows you to build up a war chest that will begin to build an economically viable plant. Now, again, to reiterate, we are very excited about potentially competing for and winning some of the DOE awards. We were very excited about the NNSA intent to sole source. And so all that will do is increase the size of the plant, reduce the price of the SWU coming out of it as economies of scale grow.
Yeah, and no country in the world has been able to do this enrichment production, work without strong support from their governments. And so, it would be great if the U.S. government followed this model, though, as Ben just indicated, there's a lot of demand signal that we see in the private sector for HALEU in particular, given the proliferation of advanced reactors design and their desire to come online as soon as possible. So we think the stars are aligning for a really strong and unique private-public sector partnership that will restore U.S. leadership in this critical area of the fuel cycle.
Yeah, so what you see here is one of the rare looks inside our facility. The cascade you see there on the left is the one that's operating now. I would let the ones of you that count fast see that there's 18 centrifuges there. Only 16 of them are used in our cascade. We had 2 spares. We, of course, thought it was prudent to have 2 spares available. We've not needed them. So that has been a blessing and a pleasant turn of events. The machines are working quite well, and we believe we've got a technology that is poised for expansion. It's one obviously I've worked on my entire career, and it's really robust. The government's called it Technology Readiness Level 9, and we're excited about what it can do. It's a very productive centrifuge at 350 SWU per unit, and we've got a great cadre of folks and companies arrayed to build out all of the systems necessary to support it. And that other picture looks down one of our service modules so that you can see some of the things that also go into producing a plant of that size. Here's another look inside the facility. This facility is the one where we do the assembly and transport of the centrifuges, and there's another view of the cascade itself. Here is a view of our facility in Oak Ridge, and it is a secure facility where we build the centrifuge machines themselves. We put them together there, do all the machining, and then ship them up to Ohio for assembly, as I mentioned in the previous slide. Whoop. Let's see here. I think we need to go back one. Let's go forward one. One more. There we go. Oh, no, we went backwards. Sorry. Go forward one more. Forward one more. Forward one more. There we go. Perfect. Thanks. I think the animation was throwing us for a loop there. But so to point out what we're doing and leveraging our strengths, what we've got is a NRC license for HALEU and LEU. No one else has gotten that yet. We've got an existing site I've already mentioned with 3.8 million SWU of building already built. And we've got a proven technology, over 3.5 million machine hours at this point. And I've already mentioned that we were able to raise $1.2 billion in the past year, and then we've got $2 billion in contingent offtake agreements from the plant.
Our third quarter earnings call is coming up this week, so that number on this box Hopefully, will change.
And there's a lot of talk of leveraging the public-private partnership, and this is really how we think about that. And we are certainly still in competition for some of that $3.4 billion of Department of Energy money that has been announced. No idea what, if any of it, we will win. And then the other two pieces we've talked about already in terms of private and customer contracts-based investing. And so what we're really trying to do, and this comes back to the theme that I hit on earlier, is that we're really trying to diversify the market. It was certainly over-concentrated with Russian SWU. We feel like it had the potential to become over-concentrated with European SWU, and we know that in this audience that would probably not sound like a bad idea, but it does lend itself to better price competition if there's something there offered from the U.S. to diversify the supply. And we've certainly benefited from that, honestly, in the U.S. I mean, you've had European enrichers operating in the U.S. I think it's helped keep Centrus and USEC, its predecessor, competitive, having that competition present. And I would say that if you ask our reactor operators, they would advise you to have a strong competitive landscape to try to buy your fuel from. Some glamour shots of the facility. And then this is how you can contact us. Of course, we'd invite you to come and visit with us and ask us any questions that you didn't get to. I usually like to give these in sort of an interactive sort of a way, but please come ask us any questions that were prompted by this presentation. We appreciate you all coming and spending some time with us. And Jess, anything you want to say to conclude?
No, sorry we left so much time for our Q&A next door. But we wanted to give a concise presentation of where we've been, where we're headed. Hopefully you can sense that the company's really launching forward. We have, as you may already know, our CEO and our Senior Vice President who heads the Oak Ridge facility, Ben mentioned where he is based. Our CEO is in the headquarters where I'm based. I mean, we have some new leaders who have come on board in the last year or so that is quite bullish about Centrus and our next phase. And so it's a really exciting time to be part of this company, and I look forward to learning from all of you on ways that we can partner together. So thank you for your time.